Which would you rather have, a pro-choice president who gets it on foreign policy, or a pro-life conservative president who's more focused on a domestic agenda than fighting the war on terror?
Now, you're asking, would I prefer a pro-life conservative president who doesn't get it on foreign policy?
If he was pro-choice, Rudy Giuliani, for instance, if he was pro-choice but he understood the nature of the threat, would he be an acceptable presidential candidate for you?
No, he would not be.
Even if his opponent was pro-life but not interested in fighting the war?
Well, I don't know what war we're talking about, but
the ongoing war against Islamofascism.
okay. Well, I would say that a pro-life president probably will be somebody that will get that. So the theoretical concerns that we would elect somebody that would be pro-life but unable to develop a effective policy in foreign relations is whatever kind of answer we could make up to that. I would be pro-life. I would come down on the side of the individual who is pro-life.
So if you had 6 candidates on the Republican side running for president, and 5 of them thought there's no more threat from Islamofascism and they were all pro-life, one of them said we must keep fighting our enemy, but he was pro-choice, you would rule him out as a voter for president?
I don't know whether I'm pro-life. Let me make it clear that I'm pro-life. So if you're trying to pry that out of me with that sort of a question, which is ludicrous on the face of it, I don't.
It's possible. I mean, we were faced with that in the last presidential election.
I don't think that any of our presidential aspirants in the last election were.
Rudolph Giuliani was pro-choice.
Well, what I'm saying is, I don't think any of them were unaware of the international threat of radical Islam.
Well, that's.
Pro-choice or pro-life.
I think we can all agree on that.
I don't know about Paul. Ron Paul was a complete goof on foreign policy, but pro-life. Right.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that.
So he would. I mean, you can rule him out on a number of levels, I suppose.
I don't know whether Ron Paul.
But pro-life.
He was pro-life, but he was also very, very well versed in foreign policy. He happened to disagree
With the war.
but he was not.
Islam.
He was not a moron.
Right.
He understood foreign policy extremely well. He disagreed with the Bush administration, and he disagrees with the Obama administration today. But he's very, very, very smart about foreign policy. He just has a different view. Now, he is career military.
Right. But he does not want to fight the war on Islamofascism.
Not in the way it's being fought. And I mean, you've heard George Will say much the same thing that Paul has said. That the way we're going about this, there is a better way to go about it. It's not that they are soft on Islamic fascism. It's that they disagree with the way the war is being conducted.
What is your answer, Mo?
Well, I disagree with the premise of the question. It's about like asking me if I prefer Auburn or North Carolina. Well, I'm a Duke grad and Alabama grad, okay? And with this, I prefer presidential nominees who are both pro-life and are sound on foreign policy, and that's where my track record has been. Ronald Reagan, he was pro-life, excellent foreign policy in my judgment. He helped bring down the Soviet Union. I was his North Alabama campaign spokesman when he was running for president. Thereafter, Bob Dole, I was one of his 3 statewide co-chairmen. George Bush the first, I supported him. George Bush the second, I was a delegate to the National Convention for him. All those folks were pro-life, and I think, let's say, talk about George Bush the second. Certainly his foreign policy, people can disagree with it. I agree with it. Let's look at what he faced in September of 2001. We were being attacked. We had thousands of lives that were lost. People may disagree with the policies that he implemented in going into Iraq or going into Afghanistan, but you know what? We have not been the victim of a full-scale, originating outside the United States of America, terrorist attack during the remainder of George Bush's 7 years as President of the United States. So that policy worked. So what I look for are pro-life and sound foreign policy candidates, and that's who I support.